And slavery's been going, I suppose, since the beginning of the world, but there are different types. I don't know enough about that. But I think it's important to people to understand that it happened in the past. There are legacies.
Historical slavery, when I think of that visually, I think of the images. I think of the very famous image of the human cargo, like matchstick people.
Chains, whipping, lynching, get thrown overboard, fed to the sharks.
Slavery is when you don't have any rights of your own. You belong to somebody else. It's either something that you've known all your life or something that you've been forced into against your will.
It's, I suppose, the worst face of capitalism you could imagine, really. Dehumanising people and using them as commodities.
What do I know about slavery today? Well, I assume it goes on in places, but I don't know.
There is slavery happening right under our noses that we may not be aware of. It's sex trafficking, it's the child slavery, it's indentured slavery that's still going on now.
It's actually, when you think about it, it's the worst kind of situation a human being could be in. When you say hell on earth, that is hell on earth,
Contemporary slavery knows no boundaries, and I would suggest that it is something that is found in almost every country in the world, certainly in every region. It doesn't distinguish between developed and developing countries. It doesn't distinguish between North and South. It doesn't distinguish between countries in conflict and failed states and those which are democratic and respect human rights.
During the transatlantic slave trade, it was legal to buy and sell other human beings. Now, there's no country in the world in which it is legal to own another human being today, but the ways in which people are coerced and forced to work against their will are quite different. You don't have to own someone. You can coerce them into working through threats, through violence against them, against their family, or if they're not in their country of origin, you can remove their documents so that they're illegal in the country and they can't go to the authorities.
Well, I would say that in the Philippines, slavery is very much alike. Contrary to the belief in in Europe and in the North, that slavery is actually abolished 200 years ago, I would say that here in the Philippines, we are still fighting to abolish it. It is very much manifested in the life of our domestic worker. It is very much manifested in the life of the traffic victims.
May babae na mamasyal, bahay-bahay, tapos sabi niya magtatrabaho dito sa Manila na magiging domestic worker. Tapos nagbahay-bahay siya, tapos isa naman ako doon na gusto ko talagang makapagtrabaho. Tapos pumunta siya sa bahay namin, sinabi niya ako na gusto ko daw magtrabaho sa Manila. Sabi ko, oo. Tapos sabi niya, dadali niya daw ako, ipapahanapan ako ng pagtatrabahuan.
Yung pinapakahirap po doon ay yung mapunta po kayo sa lugar po na na wala po kayong alam. Tapos pagdating po doon sa iyong bahay na yung pagtatrabahuan po ay hindi po kayo sigurado kung ano po ang mangyayari. Tapos, tulad po nung nangyari sa akin ay isang taon po ako doon nakakulong, hindi po ako makalabas. Tapos, isang taon din po na wala pa akong hinahawakang pera dahil hindi po ako siniswelduhan.
It's hard. In my experience, it's hard for me because first and foremost, I have no one to run to and I am a stranger in a place. So, I'm not sure after leaving, where will I go?
sinaktan na ako ng employer, yung anak ng employer ko, na sinaktan niya, binugbog na niya ako hanggang sa pero tumangka na akong tumakas noon. Tapos nagpatulong ako sa barangay Tanod. Tapos yung barangay Tanod, ibinilag ako, sinaktan niya ako. Tapos ikinulong ako ng employer ko. Ayaw na niya akong pagtrabuhin sa bahay nila. Tapos ayaw na rin nila akong pakainin. Sabi nila wala.
Masakit po para sa akin po yung, lalo na po pag nilalait po niya yung sarili ko. Yung minamura niya po ako, sinasabihan sira ulo. Tanga daw po ako araw-araw. Sa akin yung hindi ko po matanggap. Pero nung lagi niya pong sinasabi yun sa akin araw-araw, nasanay na po ako. Tapos pag binubugbog po nila ako, umiiyak na lang po ako sa tabi.
Philippines is an archipelago. We are divided by waters. We are islands. The main mode of transportation, especially by the poor people, is the sea travel. So boats, vessels, and this kind of transportation allowed people to travel across the island. For us, the ports are the last frontier of defense of the children before they go to their employers. It is a last frontier of defense because this is the last place where the children and the women are visible. After they get out of the port, it's really very difficult to track them down.
I have this feeling that I am not treated as human being. You know, I am deprived of everything. I can't move freely. I have no freedom to move during that time, and I feel the people around me are cruel, you know, cruel people because inside the house, almost all my employees, including children, are very cruel to me, and they just treated me as if I am nothing, that I am a dirt, like that. So I have also this feeling that I am not a human person.
There is so much abuse in this sector because the children are isolated and hidden. They don't have any access to outside help, and that put the child in a very vulnerable situation. And the fact that we have no national law that actually protects these children and even mainstream the sector in terms of social services, it continues, actually perpetuates a lot of abuse and vulnerability to these children.
If you look at the kind of descent-based slavery that takes place in countries like Niger, you have people who recognize another human being as their master, and their master will take decisions over whether their children go to school, if they marry, who they'll marry. They never get paid, they never have a right to talk about what kind of work they should do, and they have to basically do whatever their master tells them to do at whatever time.
أودا غاس شغلين قرش تقوشين قيسا انت طارس شغالقة خاسي الشغل واهي ورطين مشيس وري لا المدة اشيس ورطين الشغل واهي ورهن تولي نقاسة إن شاء الله وما وري لين الشغل الجي كيلان الشغل ديزا بوزنا ويدا مغفرن تيد ورتليو الجي غير انك كالي إلا زنان وان غيروسو إلا تهردان زابز عرب داس يشوشو تابزا سيغانك رسونا أوالا شغل مورسا
لكن من تقدرتنا من ترفاس ستكتي هروات يعني الاستعمار سنة ستكتي لنا الخشرة ما لنا
هذا كان دغسم مشن كيت نت وقم مدة فودا كود
شيلت
ما شيلت ما سزرو ما سفرات ما سكراس ما سأجر تدق لك شكر بس قصفوسين زارقة حتى عند الشيفلة قندها كيتصوصي يكرس.
L'association Timidria a apporté un changement dans le phénomène de l'esclavage au Niger. Parce qu'avant la création de l'association Timidria, l'esclavage est un phénomène tabou. On n'en parle pas.
Well, the impetus for change always comes from the grassroots. It comes from the local individuals and organisations who are fighting against slavery in the particular countries where it occurs. They're the ones that are organising people to resist the types of slavery that are manifesting themselves in those countries.
akwai lalle kam ka samu matsala yanzu Allah ya wanke muna ita sun wanke muna ita yanzu mun matsala ta guda wadda naka kuka a shahe mini hawaye na saboda ban da wurin shiga ban da gida na shiga saboda rabe ne niki shi kada yanzu a kuka na saboda can farin watan matsala Allah ya wanke muna ita sun wanke muna ita yanzu wata matsala bata shahe mu ba tunda Allah ya wanke muna ita sun wanke muna ita ni yanzu matsala ta guda kuka na guda saboda ban da wurin shiga rabe ne niki yanzu shi kadai a kuka na.
À partir d'aujourd'hui, ces femmes, pendant 12 mois, vont non seulement élever ces moutons, mais travailler sur ces fibres pour confectionner des nattes traditionnelles qu'elles vont revendre et ainsi de suite. Ceci rentre dans le cadre d'une manière générale de la lutte contre la pauvreté que nous menons, qui est en quelque sorte la réinsertion socio-économique des victimes de l'esclavage.
A wadda rayuwa ta bani saboda an kulla maka sana'a ne ku dan saboda ka karu ko ka ci gaba in ka karu kamar haka kamar yanzu sana'a ai zakai in ka samu sana'a ai ka karu kuma ka samu abin da zaka ci gabakinka kuma ka samu sana'ar da zakai dan ka tsira da mutuncinka.
Because slavery is almost always linked to extreme poverty and discrimination, these people are often challenging very strong structures of power and are subject to threats, to harassment, to persecution. And so international support is very important for protecting those people, for helping them to challenge these elites and to change the situation on the ground.
You have to work against trafficker heads on. You have to, you have to work with the parents who are actually mad about your intervention, and it puts Visayan Forum staff in a very, very dangerous situation. For us, threats against our life, threats in terms of legal cases, threats of our NGO bearing attack is a everyday life situation that we need to live at.
I'm convinced that if enough people are willing to support the movement, either as individuals or as part of a mass movement, they will support action against slavery, we can achieve amazing things.
Timidria va s'opposer à toute personne, à toute institution, à tout individu qui refuse de voir la réalité en face, notamment celle de l'esclavage dans notre pays. Timidria va continuer à chercher des partenaires qui peuvent regarder dans la même direction qu'elle, qui vont l'aider a contribué à l'éradication du phénomène de l'esclavage dans notre pays.
Everyone has a responsibility to end slavery, and one of the great achievements of the 1807 campaign to abolish the slave trade was that it managed to convince people not only that slavery was wrong, but that they had a responsibility to do something about it.
We have to be aware of it. We have to educate people. We have to make a stand in order for it to change.
I do, and I think it's only when people decide that enough is enough and that they're going to mobilise themselves and somebody stands up and say, well, I'm going to do what I can. I can't do everything, but I can do because I do it for myself, and then I can bring along other people who are like-minded. That's when change happens.
That's what creates change, is us people, and listening to our hearts and following our hearts and standing up for what our hearts is telling us, basically. So yeah, that's the only thing that's going to create change.